Tonight on Rural America Live, the Farm Progress Show preview. As thousands of farmers prepare to see the latest agricultural equipment and services in person at the event known globally as the World's Fair of Agriculture, we bring you a peek at what's to come. August 29th, 30th, and 31st at the Farm Progress Show 2023 at Decatur, Illinois. Hello, everyone. I'm Max Armstrong with a warm welcome to our Farm Progress Show preview. And that leads to a warm welcome to the show itself, coming up in just a few days. Yes, at Decatur, Illinois. This is an event with a lot of history, to be sure. It started in 1953, yes, 70 years ago. And it continues to be such an amazing destination for farmers, not just from the United States, but all around the world. As Don Torty pointed out, it's a one-of-a-kind event.
Well, there's nothing like it. I mean, you go there and you feel like, wow, this is the middle of agriculture. It doesn't get any better than that. The latest technology, and I listen to customers talk about that too. It's not just staff. I think staff feels really proud going to the Farm Progress Show and wow, we had a part in building this thing, but I think our customers feel the same.
There's kind of a county fair, state fair feel, but it's on steroids, I guess you'd say. There's so much going on.
Steroids. And you're going to go away from the Farm Progress Show with some great new knowledge. You might not do that going to a county fair, but you're going to do that. Something that makes you a better producer when you go home.
The land-grant colleges are always so well represented, and I assume they will be at this show as well.
They sure will be. There's a whole line of them that are there. They utilize, they show their latest things that they're working on. They also look at that as a great recruiting tool. I mean, there's several of them right there.
Bring in students.
Bring in students and kind of talk a little bit about why you should go to the University of Illinois or wherever that is. And it's really a great alumni pride moment as well, I believe. They're usually putting stickers on you and that sort of thing if you are an Illini or Illinois State. Several of those, yep.
Yeah, I've had them put them on my back at times, and it doesn't say Purdue back there. The products, the variety of products and the new product introductions come to mind.
That is a hallmark of the Farm Progress Show, is new product introductions. And we know of a whole bunch coming up this year, but unfortunately, we can't share most of them because they're still under lock and key and they pull the cloth off at the show. But I think it's safe to say, Max, that every single color of machinery is going to have something new there. And it's not just machinery. I mean, that's kind of the sexy part of the show, right, to see what's happening. But you can go, there's, the UTVs, there's a couple product introductions there. Last year at the Farm Progress Show, you saw short stature corn. I know they have that again there this year. So crop protection and seed, you're gonna find all of the latest technology. And I don't think this year's going to be any shorter than any other year of great new stuff.
The drive toward, if you pardon the use of the term, toward electric vehicles is interesting to observe. There are some in agriculture, some farmers are saying, well, I'll believe it when I see it in terms of the ag application. But you can't ignore how fast we're running down that path, how much money is being thrown at it, how much development and research is going into it, and coming to agriculture.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about how the pace of technology just continues to accelerate, and I think EVs are a perfect example of that. Two that we know of that we can talk about are both Monarch and Select Track tractors. They both will be there, so there's some EV solutions. There's really strong rumors out there that there will be some other product introductions of EV technology that can be used in the field. So we're really excited about that happening. And of course, I think any truck lot you go to, you're gonna find that as well. I remember last year, the hood was up on a tractor or on a pickup in one of them, and there was no engine. That was the trunk. It was just kind of crazy, but you're gonna find all of that sort of stuff at the Farm Progress Show.
Having been a part of the television series that aired here on RFD TV, I have to mention Farm Next, and it'll be very visible, I heard the announcers say, at the Farm Progress Show.
Yeah, year two. I mean, and bigger and better, right? If you missed this last year, if you saw it last year, it certainly was a highlight of the show. It's all these innovators that have new products that have not yet reached the market. You want to look at the future of agriculture. Wow, that is, things that are coming down. And so right by Pivot Bio, whom we work with Pivot Bio, they sponsor this. There's a tent that has all of these innovators in there, not only the inventions, but the innovators, which I think is really cool, the ability to be able to talk to them. I mean, we all have that new ideas from time to time, but we just tuck them in our head. They took action, and I think it's really great.
The big co-anniversaries being celebrated this year come to mind. Over your shoulder, we see the 70 years observed there of the Farm Progress Show, the 100th anniversary of the Farmall brand, and there are special events tied in.
Exactly. I mean, we're pretty proud about 70 years. We think that is great, but you think 30 more years on top of that. Farmall is going to have something really special this year. There's well, you're in it. There's a parade of tractors coming in. I believe max at least 70 plus of the 100 years of Farmall tractors, and they'll be up on 12th Avenue, so you can actually see those all parked there. Also, Gleaner is celebrating its 100th anniversary, and I know they've been working to bring in some old Gleaner combines, so you can kind of see the evolution of that brand as well. You know, I always look at Farm Progress Show as, you know, you're looking at the future of agriculture, but it's kind of cool to celebrate the past at the same time. And something that's 100 years old, and you see what Case IH did 100 years ago, and now today what they're doing, or the same with AGCO, that's pretty amazing.
You know, it is fun. You know how many farms I have visited over the past few years, and I enjoy it immensely. I have such a blast when I can go into someone's shed and I'll see the brand new lineup of equipment there, and you look back in the corner and there's a very special antique tractor. I saw this in Missouri, I've seen it in Iowa, the Dakotas. There's something sitting back there. It might have a tarp over it. It may need to be, have a little facelift, but there is always that appreciation of the past on our farms of today.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, it's our heritage, right? I mean, whether that be your grandfather or your great-grandfather, that was his tractor. That's cool, because that's what farming's all about, right? Generational and always making the farm better, and that's what the Farm Progress Show does, is what's the new technology that's gonna make them better and continue into the next generation.
Some folks travel considerable distance to be there. Some will come from maybe a mile or two away. If they need a ticket to get in, it's far quicker, is it not? And more advantageous for them to go online and get one?
Absolutely.
Have it on your device?
FarmProgressShow.com. There's a little button, it's pretty visible, buy tickets. You get a discount. It's 25% off now, and then it also expedites your way into the show. So there are a couple advantages of both a cheaper ticket and being able to get in quicker. So I would highly encourage doing that.
I look forward to the opening ceremony. That's always exciting. When the gates open in the morning, producers are lined up waiting to get in. The exhibitors have been coming in for an hour or so before that, trying to get everything all shaped up and ready to go. There is some pent-up excitement when the gates open.
It may be one of my very favorite parts of the show. If someone's talking to me, I'm usually going, I got to go right now, because just to see all those people there, just waiting to get in. And we have great opening ceremonies, once again, sponsored by Wiffles, and it's just a great moment in the show.
Talk with me about other parts of the show that really come to mind for you as special places. It may not be where the biggest equipment is, but for you, as you've watched this show, as you've seen its growth from your standpoint over the years, when the show is actually going on, what do you like to home in on? I know you sometimes are taking dignitaries around the show grounds and hearing their reaction. That must be interesting as well.
It is. It's one of my favorite things that I do is, you know, I have an 8-seat golf cart. So when people see that, it's probably me on that. But it's really being proud of everything that's happening there. For me personally, it's the investments that people have made in their exhibits. I mean, and that's what I point out. You look at this. This isn't someone showing up for, as you talked about, you know, it starts with a county fair type basis. It's not like that at all. I mean, people are investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in all this new technology. And I'm like, wow, take a look at this. I mean, see how this works. I know we have a lot of people from our company that come, and you look at sustainability and you look at all these things these companies that are doing to make agriculture more productive and more sustainable at the same time. It's fascinating. And those are the things that I just sit there, I love telling other people about.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that there is a hospitality tent, and that's where we welcome folks every year to the show. There's always a lot going on in there, and we'll have dignitaries coming by there this year.
Absolutely. It's right in the middle of the grounds. In Decatur, we have a building, which is nice. It's the Morton building, and we have the ADM stage there. Always busy. I mean, yours truly, again, Max is, you're right in the middle of all that, and Mike Pearson will be in the middle of all that with you, but Tuesday, I believe there's 8 to 10 state directors of ag that'll be there, probably about that many members of Congress, kind of giving their welcome and from a bunch of different states. Then Wednesday, we have lieutenant governors. I know there are several of those coming, and still pending, but hopeful will be Secretary Vilsack. That's what we're looking at on Wednesday. We hope that, again, that is still pending. But what a great opportunity to hear, from all of these people, what's the latest and what's their view on agriculture and what's next.
Less than a minute left here. Tell me what your first experience was at the Farm Progress Show before you worked on it every year.
Well, I remember I was really young, and I can't remember exact year, but Grand Junction, Iowa. I just remember going, and again, I was pretty young, but just in awe looking at that. First one on staff would have been in Amana, and it's way different going to a show as someone and being on staff. I remember going over the hill. That's back when all the striped tents, and just going, wow. This makes me really proud.
Young or old, it's exciting to be sure. Thank you, Don.
Absolutely. Thank you, Max.
At the Farm Progress Show, they'll see me there wandering through their exhibit, and it's because I tend to linger a little bit at the Case IH exhibit each year as I walk through there. Joe Miller will probably be watching for me because, I tend to really examine what you have in the booth. Joe, it's great to see you. You have a new title at Case IH, right?
Good to see you, Max. Yep, I'm part of our global product management now for Case IH, focusing on the Magnum tractor.
And there is so much to see there, including the Magnum. I get to voice the field demonstration announcements, and it was so much fun talking about all of the attributes of that Magnum tractor.
It is, and that's one of the things that's really an exciting time about the farm shows is we get to highlight all of the new innovative features with our products. We get to talk about with a lot of different customers from all over the world, really, about how they use our products and what we can do to fit their application and their operation better.
And the people standing there talking with them know the product very well.
They do. We've got a mix of folks in marketing as well as our product specialists that stand there, and they love nothing more than getting into all the details of what can make a farm more productive with Case IH equipment.
Year of the tractor. I know that's key to you folks. Share with me your story.
It is. We kind of kicked off the year of the tractor. We started talking about that internally after we started with the Farm on 100 celebration. And then when we started talking about Farm on 100 and how we're going to have a year-long celebration of the Farm All tractor itself, there was other things coming. There was some new long wheelbase Pumas, and we just launched some new Steiger tractors, and there's several more things that are going to be shown here shortly. And it became more than just farm alls. This was really the whole tractor line was getting some level of a refresh and some new models, and so it became more of a kind of a rallying cry within Case IH in North America that, hey, this is the year of the tractor. Let's celebrate all things in red tractors.
It is a wide range of tractors. Why do you have such a wide range?
We have the wide range, Max, because we have a really wide range of producers. And we have tractors that go from, someone that's really caring for their estate or, some yard work or something like that, or taking care of certain properties. We've also got the largest tractors out there available for the largest producers that are farming really on a commercial scale. And we've got everyone from cash grains, small grains, as well as in livestock and hay production as well. Those are areas we focus on for all farms, right? We go back to farm all. It could farm all applications.
The horsepower on that Steiger just keeps climbing, it seems.
It does.
Getting up there.
It does. The 645 is the big model right now, and that one, it's got a peak of over 692 horsepower, which is the largest four-wheel drive in the industry. And we continue to see horsepower expand, but it comes back to farmers wanting to get more done in a tighter window, and so they're looking for us to be the professional, professional equipment provider for their needs.
Well, it's the year of the tractor. Give us a feel for what we might see out on the Case IH lot here at the 2023 show.
Well, Max, we've got some really cool, innovative products coming at the 2023 Farm Progress Show. I can't give you a whole lot of details of all of it, but I will give you a little bit of insight. As you know, we've been celebrating 100 years of Farm all year. For the last 8 months or so, a lot of that's really focused on the heritage of farm all equipment. What you're going to notice right here at the Farm Progress Show is a kind of a turning of the page and a look forward to the next 100 years of tractor innovation from Case IH. And that includes a battery electric tractor from the farm all. So you're going to see some alternative power that's coming to farms painted Case IH red.
I enjoy the old tractors and being around them, and I tell folks, and this isn't a throwaway phrase, I enjoy recalling what we went through, how the tractors were developed, what they meant to our families, but it gives us an appreciation for how far we've come And it seems like that window is being narrowed all the time with the advancements. So we're moving so quickly with the technology in each of these new machines.
We are, and the integrated technology is really important. You know, it used to be the most important part of the tractor, right, was the drawbar pinhole, right? You had to have something to connect to be able to pull the implement. But now it really comes back to the integrated technology that's built onto the tractor as far as precision farming technology. We talk about guidance and telematics to help producers know where their tractors are and what's going on. So the technology has certainly changed. And this year, the Farm Progress Show, you're going to see some technological advances from Case IH.
One thing I enjoy as I walk across that lot is to see you and your colleagues face to face with growers. You're getting feedback, you're getting questions. That must be one of the most enjoyable aspects of the show for you.
From my perspective, yes. I love talking with customers. I like talking about their operation. I know you've gone to a lot of farms on a regular basis. They're every year to different farms. And I like that as well. Hearing from the customers what it is they need from us as an equipment manufacturer, hand in hand with our dealers, to be able to provide them with more uptime, better solutions, and a better way to get things done. I mean, that's what this is about. It's really helping to advance agriculture.
I think one thing I noticed too, since you are a farmer, there's that open dialogue, and I've eavesdropped on you and your colleagues, as I've been wandering around the lot waiting to talk to you, knowing that growers are really sharing with you, and that exchange with you and with some of the other people on the lot who also are involved in farming operations. It's really unique. It's very personal, it seems.
It's very personal. You know my history, where we grew up in northern Indiana and coming from a three-generation farm right there, farming, growing up with my grandpa and my uncle and my dad and my brother now. The whole family was always involved. What's important about that is when you talk with producers and you talk with customers, agriculture is a tight-knit community, and it's something that you're very passionate about. It's something that we are very passionate about collectively. Case IH, we talk about being built by farmers, and that it's not just a advertising campaign. It's something that those of us that are involved in production ag, those that grew up on a farm, we're very proud to take forward and say, yes, we've been there, we've done that. Some of us still do it as a part of their active profession, and it's an important part of what we do, and I think it sets our brand apart.
Do you remember the first Farm Progress show you went to? Just curious.
No, I'm told I was very young, but I do remember. Several of them over the course of the years. My favorite, though, I have to say, is 2001 in Lafayette, Indiana.
2001, I remember it well.
Yeah.
That was the Kemper farm.
It was, yep.
Just south of Lafayette.
Correct, yep.
In fact, there's a story about that show in my book, as a matter of fact.
Oh, no kidding.
But yeah. So these shows really stand out in your mind. And again, it's because of the people attending, I think, that you get to meet there. Joe, thank you so much. Great to see you, and nice to have you here on our Farm Progress Show preview special.
Thanks, Max. Joe
Miller, Global Product Marketing at Case IH. And to get more of the Case IH perspective, the Director of Product Marketing with Case IH joins us here. Marissa O'Reilly, you must be excited. Tell us what's going to be happening on the lot there.
Hi, Max. Great to be here with you today. We have an exciting Farm Progress Show planned yet again for farmers this year. Events are the cornerstone of what we do at Case IH, and so we intentionally show up in a very significant way. On the lot this year, farmers will see more than 40 pieces of equipment, including many new innovations that can help their operation. Inside the building, we yet again will have merchandise as well as a brand new Connect room. In the Connect room, we'll be demonstrating what is next with connected machines as well as services. It's really a way to get to know your operation and your data and what those capabilities are. And then, of course, Joe was talking about the Farmall 100th anniversary. You'll be able to see Farmall serial number 1 and really start to understand how far we've come in agriculture over the last 100 years. In the field, we'll of course have demos. We have the combine and the tillage demos, as well as an exciting ride and drive with some new tractors. And make sure that you're able to connect with experts, because our experts are really what makes Case IH different. You're able to interact with everyone from a product specialist up to our executive leadership team and everyone in between to learn about what we can do to help your operation.
One thing I've noticed through the years going out there are a lot of folks who are there year after year for your company. They've been at the Farm Progress Show many times. It's kind of a reunion for them to go back out there and meet customers, the folks who use the tractors and combines.
It is. I would venture to guess that there's a number of people at Case IH that have just as many pins as you do for the Farm Progress Show, Max. And with that, it's because we're built by farmers. These are farmers and they are employees at Case IH, and they really celebrate bringing both of those worlds together and what they can do to further the next generation of agriculture.
Give us a look behind the scenes a little bit, developing the new products, if you would.
Yes, there are going to be so many new products at Farm Progress Show. So let's just take a step behind the scenes and how are those products developed? It really is driven by customer input. And then that brings us to how we're designing the next piece of equipment, technology, and finding those new levels of performance. With that customer input, it starts with what are their challenges, not what they want. Are your challenges labor, managing input costs? Is it looking at how to make your operation more sustainable and build your soil quality? All of those different elements or challenges go into how we're designing equipment. And some of the new equipment that we'll see outside of the tractors that Joe was just sharing, we have new planter configurations in our lineup. There's a 2120 early riser planter that's a smaller, more flexible planter package. There's the new 160 series axial flow combine that's going to bring new technology and capabilities to some of those smaller combine classes. So really those innovations are ripe across the lineup.
There's a stage usually out there as a part of your well-planned exhibit area. Something will be going on there much of the time, we understand.
Well, Max, you'll be on that stage along with Lee Clancher to really celebrate the Pharma 100. Along with your presence, you'll be kicking off the show every day. We're going to have agronomist Missy Bauer, commodity expert Matt Bennett, as well as a crowd favorite, Welker Farms. So we have a full agenda on the stage every single day. We encourage people to come out, learn something new, get some shade, and make sure to win some gear and trivia.
It's always a treat to run into the Welker boys. They're just so warm and personable, genuine, and as you say, they're a real crowd pleaser. I think people naturally gravitate toward them, yours truly included.
Yes, we learn something new every single time we interact with the Welkers, whether it's their global exposure and what they're able to bring as far as insights from around the world, to just the connection that they're making with people inside and outside of agriculture. They're really furthering what we're able to do with our agriculture story.
You know, it's all about the exhibit, all about the equipment, all about the new products that you're bringing along, but the people element is the thing. You know, for me, being the broadcaster, it's the people, and the warmth of the people on the Case IH lot is something I come away from with that show profoundly impressed each year. There's just a great camaraderie there among the staff and the people who are a part of your exhibit, and I think that's pretty neat to observe.
We're proud of the staff that we bring there, Max. At Case IH, we have a 180-year-old brand that we are really celebrating that legacy, but we're also able to look towards the future. And so we want to have those conversations. We encourage you to spend time talking with our experts on the lot and making sure that we can connect on what's next in agriculture.
Marissa, we look forward to seeing you there.
Great. See you soon, Max.
Marissa Riley, Director of Product Marketing with Case IH, one of the folks we look forward to seeing at their exhibit at Decatur, Illinois. Well, those machines, if they don't have tracks on them, will need tires, to be sure. Our friend Mike Pearson steps in now with a visit about tires that you'll see at the Farm Progress Show.
Well, Max, one thing about the Farm Progress Show is there is no shortage of horsepower on display. But for farmers, the challenge is getting all that horsepower turned into work in the field. And for that to happen, you need tires. Joining us now is Chris Neidert. He's the Marketing, Training, and Development Manager with Trelleborg Tires. And Chris, thanks for talking with us.
Mike, thanks for having us again. That's interesting you said moving the power to the ground, because that's exactly what we pay attention to. You know, the equipment is getting bigger, it's getting faster, and our tires fit that high horsepower category.
When you think about the way machinery is changing, you mentioned the weight, the speeds. Chris, what kind of pressure does that put on tires, and what's the technology to help them cope with these sort of strains?
Well, what you need to worry about is that load carrying capacity of the tire, Mike. As the vehicles get heavier and faster, that tire needs to be stronger. We continue to improve our what we call the tire casing to add to that tire strength to make that tire last longer.
So we want that tire to last a lot longer. We also don't want this heavy machinery causing damage in the fields, Chris, which is a huge concern for growers with compaction. Can you talk about how Trelleborg is helping growers address that?
Mike, we use a concept called the wing effect, and what that does, that spreads that footprint out on the ground, And I think any of us will agree, when you reduce that soil compaction, you're going to improve that crop yield. And Trelleborg tires, we have that technology to spread that tire out, reduce the compaction.
Wing effect. Chris, how big are we talking? How much does that change the footprint of the tire?
Well, what it does, the wing effect concept is, Mike, when you talk about the size of a tire, and I'm talking, let's use a common size, 480 80R50. That first number is the width of the tire in millimeters. That's about 19 or 20 inches in you and I's thinking there. So what the wing effect does, it lets that full 480 millimeters contact the ground. Some other tires don't do that, but the Trelleborg brand, you get that full contact on the ground, and it spreads that weight across a bigger footprint, reducing that compaction.
Absolutely. Keeps the machinery sort of floating on the ground. Chris, how does it help traction in the field?
Well, we also have some concepts we call progressive traction. We're the only tire that has this technology. What it is, it's a double-edged lug, and when you come into the booth, we love pointing that out, but it's that double-edged lug. It's another biting edge, and it improves traction about 15 to 18%. You know, traction's the name of the game. Again, I always say, if we're known for anything, Trelleborg's known for traction. That progressive traction technology helps that.
Absolutely. Chris, you mentioned the lugs there with the progressive traction technology, but Trelleborg also has some other interesting lug features, do you not?
Yeah, we have what also we call interlug terracing. I like to use the term terrace lugs. You know, what you want to do is you want to keep the tread clean. As soon as that tread starts to load up, it starts to slip. It starts to increase your working time, you use more fuel. And Mike, you know, we're all on the sustainability concept. You're going to emit more emissions. So that terrace lugs, it keeps the tread very clean. The traction is very good, less slippage, less fuel usage, less emissions.
The terrace lug technology, Chris, is that on every Trelleborg tire, or do growers choose it when they're working with their dealers?
No, that's been a Trelleborg trait. I've been with Trelleborg a while, and that's a great thing to talk about. We have it in all our radial tires, and we actually have it in some of our forestry product as well, because, again, the concept is to keep that tread clean, reduce the slip.
Reduce the slip. Chris, let's look out long term. Tires are expensive. They're a vital component of a farmer's business anymore. You want to make sure those are going to last. What kind of warranty does Trelleborg bring to the table?
Mike, there's another great thing we bring to the table. The Trelleborg brand, Mike, 10-year warranty. What I always say, you know, there's not many things on the equipment that has a 10-year warranty. You put Trelleborg tires on, you're going to be covered for the first 10 years. In the first 2 years, if the tire fails because of materials and workmanship, we'll give you a free tire, and we pay for the service call. Now, in some areas of the country, that could be $200 or $300. So that's another nice facet. We also have some stubble damage coverage. So when you lump that all together, we have one of the best warranties in the market, Mike.
You've got one of the best warranties, and of course consumers always like to know where their products are coming from. Chris, can you tell us about where Trelleborg tires are manufactured?
You know, we're starting a kind of a new saying this year. We're talking local for local. So we're very proud. We have 2 plants here in the United States, Mike. Spartanburg, South Carolina, where we make most of the Trelleborg product. And we also have a plant in Charles City, Iowa. That's where a lot of the Mitas product and a few Trelleborg products are also made there. So that local for local concept, we're trying to produce local for the local growers. And again, sometimes built in the USA is a big deal. So we're really happy we can say that.
That is fantastic. Now, Chris, when folks are at the Farm Progress Show this year, of course, they're going to have the chance to look at a lot of machinery on dealerships' lots. Is there a chance they could see Trelleborg tires?
Well, you know, another nice thing we talk about is our original equipment, or our OE presence. When you walk around the show, you know, you're going to stop into the major tractor manufacturers or some other equipment manufacturers. You will see Trelleborg and Mitas tires on that equipment. So it's a really nice thing to say, that confidence that those equipment manufacturers have to put our tires on the equipment.
Chris, we're looking ahead to harvest season. You mentioned the American manufacturing for Trelleborg and Mitas tires. How's production look? Are you prepared for growers and harvest needs?
Yeah, and Mike, let's face it, last year and the year before, supply was a challenge. I mean, we were selling every tire coming off the line. It has loosened up a little bit. We've got some pretty good inventory. The growers, we want them to come in, and you know, I'm going to say this, stop into our booth. We have our tire experts there. This is our Super Bowl. I kind of say this all the time. Matt Youngman laughs. This is our Super Bowl. We gear everything towards this show, so all our experts are there. We got our technical guys, our salespeople. Come on into the show. Talk to us about tires, because we've got some good tires available coming up on fall harvest.
Chris, you mentioned your experts will be on hand. I've had the chance to talk to a lot of the experts on the Trelleborg team over the years, and I'm always fascinated by the questions that they get. From your perspective, when you're talking to farmers ahead of a harvest season, what's the best piece of advice you'd give them about their tires?
Well, you know, as you know, you've heard me talk before, air pressure is a huge thing with tires. We ask them to get their tire dealer involved and give some advice on air pressure, because simple air pressure changes, Mike, could make just a world of difference. We usually notice the growers are running too much pressure. So that helps reduce traction. That increases tire wear. So if you can get that air pressure set up correctly, and if the dealer needs some advice, please call our tire professionals. They're out in the field, that's their job. We can give advice on what the correct air pressure run. Or if you want to come into the booth, we're there. We've got all our data. We can talk about what kind of air pressure would be suitable for you. We'll come up with some answers, Mike.
So Chris, you will be at the Farm Progress Show, as you've mentioned, booths 1064 and 1062. You're going to have experts on hand. Why else should folks stop by the Trelleborg booth?
Well, we also, come on in and register to win a $500 Visa gift card. Just takes a few minutes. Come on in. We'll get some information from you. Get in the drawing. Also, Mike, we'd like to talk to them about our fall instant rebate that's going on. It started August 1st. It's going to run till the end of October. You can get up to a $200 instant rebate on specific Trelleborg tires. Now, we've got a wide gamut of tires available, but you can get up to $200 back instantly from your dealer.
I'm glad you mentioned that there is a wide gamut of tires. We were talking initially about the tractor tires and the power required for those, but you have implement tires as well. Chris, can you talk about the Trelleborg family of tires?
Yeah, big portfolio, Mike. The tractor tires, as we just said, both row crop and high horsepower. Sprayers, so any of the sprayer applicator owners out there, we have a nice sprayer tire. Spreaders, which are the big either 3 or 4 wheel spreaders, we make those tires as well. Combine tires, we've got a big portfolio of combine tires. So really anything, telehandler tires, Mike, that's not always a well talked about or always talked about. We have those available. So come on into the booth. Let us show you the wide array of tires we have. We've got a bunch of tires on display. You know, I'm a touchy-feely guy, so come on in. We'll let you see the tread. We'll talk about our features and benefits and make you more knowledgeable so you can make a good tire decision.
Chris, now you are the training manager there at Trelleborg, which means you have trained a lot of people on air pressure. Can you talk about where farmers could learn some of the trainings that you've put on?
You can come to our website, which I'm going to talk about here at the end of the show, and you can look there. We have some air pressure suggestion information in there, and you can get in there, or you can contact us, and we'll give you some advice there.
You mentioned the website. Chris, can you tell us that address? Where can we go to learn more about Trelleborg?
Yeah, that's going to be trelleborg-tires.com/EN-US. I know that's a lot, but that'll get you right to our Trelleborg North American site. Now that's a North American site, so we'll have all our products we sell here, and it'll be in what we call imperial measurements instead of metric, because us being a worldwide company, a lot of times things come over metric from Europe. So we have to get that transferred into what we call the empirical, or I call US measurements. But that'll have any kind of information you want there.
All right, Chris, one more time for folks coming to Farm Progress Show 2023, where can they find you?
Okay, so we're going to be at booth 1062 and 1064. We're in the northwest quadrant. So if you get your app, if you want to go to the app, or if you want to get the map when you come in, we're going to be in the northwest quadrant. Please come by and see us. As you can see, I love talking about product, and we'll take care of any kind of questions you have, any tire questions, please stop by.
All right. That's Chris Neidert, Marketing, Training, and Development Manager with Trelleborg Tires.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, Chris is one of those guys we look forward to seeing every year at the Farm Progress Show. He's always so upbeat, gives such a warm welcome to the folks coming into their exhibit. We also enjoy stopping by Morton Buildings and taking a close look at what they offer the folks at the Farm Progress Show. Lisa Bockledge is with Morton.
Yes, at the show this year, we have our 1,600 square foot ranch home with a 2-car attached garage, and then we also have a 42 by 60 detached shop on the show site. And that Morton home is actually one of our most popular home offerings that we have at Morton. And the interior of the home is actually unfinished. We left that by design to really showcase the post frame advantages, which leads to a clear span structure with an open interior space. So what the customer is left with is a very high quality insulated lockable shell with a large open space for them to finish out on their own.
They can make the decision about it, how they want that to look then.
Yeah, for design preferences or just their unique needs.
You know, I think about all the unique Morton structures that I've seen over the years. Obviously, we think of that farm facility where the farmer is increasingly putting more larger equipment under that structure. As the equipment gets bigger, you need more of an entryway to bring that equipment in. I think of churches that I've seen constructed by Morton Buildings. Fire stations in many rural communities have been designed and structured by Morton. It's a wide range, isn't it?
It is a wide range. I mean, the post frame construction, Morton's construction lends to that clear span, which leads those large open spaces for the large machinery, and that's continued to evolve over the years as the farm operations have continued to evolve.
Before we get a little farther into the story, there's a lot of history behind this company, and many people may not realize that. Now, in my own particular instance, I grew up on a farm where Dad had 2 Morton structures. So for me, it dated back to the early 70s. But you folks were on the scene. Morton was on the scene long before that, as I understand.
Yes, actually, this is our 120-year anniversary for Morton Buildings. We started out as interlocking fence company in Morton, Illinois, where our corporate office resides today. Have expanded over the years now to over 100 construction centers nationwide.
100?
And yes, over 100. So pretty much from East Coast and expanded out west. We just opened our new manufacturing facility in Pocatello, Idaho this year, and so continuing to grow as an organization and providing quality buildings across the countryside.
That means you have to have the ability to deliver those materials that are so important to a Morton building. You know, it's so well designed and engineered, but you have to have that wood there, you have to have the metal there. It has to be in an area where you can deliver it to the site.
Yes, we own pretty much the whole entire process. So we have our manufacturing facilities where we roll our own steel, build our trusses. We send those out to the job site with our own delivery crew, where we then construct them on the job site as well.
What are some of the most frequent questions you'll get when someone comes through and they're saying, and maybe they're new to Morton, maybe they didn't have a history, or their father didn't have a history with a Morton structure. What do you often hear about, and what are some of the points you'd like to make to them, Lisa?
I think one common question is if we sell kits. We don't sell kits. We don't just drop ship a product and then a customer ends up constructing it. We actually build our own product. We also, everything is designed custom for that customer and for the location where they're in and for the unique needs. So that's something that's very unique to Morton. And we take pride in our quality. We try to make sure we have the highest quality of product to deliver, so it's there for generations to come for the customer.
Post-frame construction. You know, I've been notorious as a younger man talking about out in a pole barn, but a pole barn is a pole barn. These are post-frame buildings. Explain what that is.
Post-frame construction is wood columns and wood trusses, and then typically we have our steel exteriors for the siding and the roof, but the post-frame construction lends itself where the load of the post-frame building is transferred to the columns, providing superior strength and durability for the building, and performs really well even in adverse weather conditions.
You know, it's funny you should mention that. I have to share a personal story. We had very strong storms coming through our area. They were forecast in advance. We knew they were coming through, and I was thinking about what we could lose in that storm. And yet I looked out at our particular Morton building. I thought, this thing is so rock solid. I remembered it being constructed. I remember watching it. I remember those posts being anchored and how they are rock solid there all the way around. And it gives you a lot of confidence, I think, as an owner if you see how the building is put together.
Yes, we take great pride in trying to make sure that that is constructed to the highest quality of standards. We build to the construction and building codes of the area to make sure that, we can withstand those adverse conditions.
And those codes do vary significantly, I'm sure, across the United States, don't they?
They do. It varies widely. You go into the northern tier areas of the country and you're talking about snow loads and making sure that we're constructing the snow loads.
Hurricane Alley, that's a different story.
Yes, or wind loads. And then, even as you think of energy efficiency, if you're in the really cold climates, we build to that to make sure that they're highest energy efficiency there, as well as, as you think of your southern tier, we have a lot of different variety in how we build our buildings to construct them to the geographies they're in.
That's a neat story. It occurred to me as I looked at a structure going up, in our particular instance, that you have to have knowledgeable crews. They have to know what they're doing. And you have a pretty aggressive training program, one could imagine.
We do have a very aggressive training program. Training starts day one on the job site, and we continue to train throughout that process. We always are adding new crew members as we continue to expand as an organization, but we have a lot of tenure within our crew as well. So a lot of experience there for our buildings and for providing that quality construction for our customers.
That detached structure that you have at the Farm Progress Show site, talk with me about that.
Yeah, the detached structure at Farm Progress Show is a 42 by 60 detached shop. It is a show building, so we are trying to showcase a lot of the different features that are unique to a Morton building, what's different in the quality of materials, the construction process, and so forth. But it was built on the Morton foundation system with one of our newest innovations that includes the DuraPlank concrete splashboard. And what's unique about that is the Morton foundation system is concrete columns in the ground. So that removes wood from the ground, but the DuraPlank concrete splashboard actually goes around the whole perimeter of the building, removing all structural wood from ground contact on that building. So, as you think about farm buildings, a lot of them are built with dirt floors or maybe gravel floors. That's more conducive to moisture, and moisture can lead to potential rot or decay or just, looking very worn over time. That concrete splashboard adds a whole nother level of durability to the building.
That's cool. I've seen a sketch of it. I guess I haven't seen, maybe I have seen one in person. I'm trying to remember, but
yes.
I remember seeing your website. I should hasten to point out, and anybody should know this, the Morton Building website is loaded with great information, including photographs of buildings you have constructed. And it's very helpful as one who studied it for many months, I must say. You learn the combinations, you get an idea by seeing some of these things. Folks should visit the site, shouldn't they?
Yeah, the website mortonbuildings.com has a lot of projects on there. I think over 1,000 different projects that we've built over the years. Just a handful of the buildings we built over the years, but showcases a lot of different variety of uses of the buildings, whether it's farm, whether it's for residential, commercial, or even equestrian. All of those of different ways you can utilize the building, design the building with the local sales consultants, and also provides ideas just for thought starters. If you're thinking of building, just to start thinking about what you may want in your building as well. And it's a great place to start when you're doing your planning process.
I don't think you mentioned hobbyist,
Yes.
and that's another segment. I guess I would perhaps fall into that category. But folks really enjoy a nice facility in which to, for example, showcase their old farm tractors or whatever their hobby might be. Maybe it's woodworking.
Yes, workshops, hobby shops, those are definitely a high interest of our building projects here at Morton Buildings and continue to expand in popularity. And multi-use purpose or multi-purpose buildings is definitely one of the areas that continues to expand. People that may have, one purpose for the building, but then also use it for entertainment or recreation and so forth. So we see a lot of that as well for different requests coming in from our customers.
We'll home in on your location. You're right there in the center of the action at the show show site, as I recall.
We are. We're at Exhibit 633, right there in the middle of Farm Progress Show, across from the Farm Progress Hospitality Building, between 5th and 6th and Central, and just right there in the middle of Farm Progress Show.
And also on the web. Your website is?
Website is mortonbuildings.com.
Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
On our Farm Progress Show preview, sharing the Morton Buildings story, Lisa Bottledge. And we need to get the story from the National Events Director at Farm Progress, Matt Youngman, who joins us here to talk about this 70th anniversary show. In fact, I see it right over your shoulder, celebrating 70 years, back to 1953, Armstrong, Illinois, I should hasten to point out.
Yes, it's exactly right.
Don't blink, as you're going through Armstrong. There's an Armstrong, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa. I'm not sure how many states have one.
Well, good.
Good enough name to carry on, right, Matt?
Armstrong, Illinois certainly has a great foundation.
I always ask the question, what's new? That's a question an interviewer should never ask, but we always do, and it's so appropriate, I think, for the Farm Progress Show.
Absolutely, and the what's new is usually answered with something that the exhibitors are doing, because what makes the show fresh and new, especially since we've gone to permanent sites, we have to make sure that the 2023 show is all new and improved from 2021, and it's really easy to say, when you have companies like Case IH that are unveiling new products that we can't even talk about here, but on site, when you get there, you're going to see the latest and greatest in action.
The Varied Industries tent, sometimes in our discussions about the show, we do talk about the equipment. We talk about field demos. There's so much to cover, but the Varied Industries tent quite often is just jammed full of producers taking a look at some of the things that they want to buy at the show and take home with them.
Take home with them, or, a lot of times that is where a new exhibitor is going to dip their toe in. Very rarely do you have a company like a Monarch tractor this year where they come into the show taking a big 6-lot footprint. For the most part, if you're new at the Farm Progress Show, your first exhibit is going to be a 10x10 or a 10x20 in the Varied Industries tent. There's lots of really cool stories of a company like Pit Express that started with a 10x10 and then got 2 of them and then took a junior lot, and now, for a long time they've had their outdoor exhibit space.
So that's a farmer.
That's exactly right, Steve and his brother, and so when you want to see what's new at the Farm Progress Show, the Varied Industries tent is something that you need to walk, just because that's the place where the new exhibitors are just dipping their toe in to try the show out. And we're talking about the Varied Industries tent, and the thing that's really cool about that this year is the partnership with Illinois Soybean to get over an acre.
I'm laughing because you said dipping their toe in. We used to dip our toes in. The whole darn foot would go in sometimes.
Every now and then.
In the old Varied Industries tent before asphalt.
That's right. We did this last year with Iowa Soybean, and now kind of new and improved with Illinois Soybean for 2023. Over an acre of recycled asphalt that has a soybean oil binder to hold it together. And when the Varied Industries tent is always in Decatur the thing that sold out first. So we worked with Wiffles, Polaris, Mitas, and Trelleborg to find them a new place to be so that we could extend this tent all the way to Central Avenue. So with the blocks being longer in Decatur than Boone, this is literally the biggest tent we've ever put up, over an acre. It's about 45,000 square feet of tent with that soybean asphalt as the base. It's going to change the look and feel of that show site with that Varied Industries tent going all the way to Central. We're really excited about that.
The word varied is so appropriate here. When you walk down through there, you'll see crop insurance being sold, grease guns, adjuvants, all kinds of products for sale there.
Finance, there's some educational booths there, and again, there's even equipment companies that are just bringing little demo pieces that, because they're again getting a start at the Farm Progress.
Sometimes things that have been pioneered right in a farmer's shop, and they're testing it out there.
That is exactly right.
Wow. So it will run how far? Pinpoint the location for us again, Varied Industries.
Just south, it's between 4th and 5th Streets, just southeast of the main gate, and it's running all the way from West Avenue to Central Avenue, and you won't be able to miss it. It is a huge brand new white tent there on the grounds. It's 66 feet wide and 680 feet long.
My goodness. The journey of autonomy has been so interesting to watch from the initial seminal steps, I guess you'd say, as autonomy came into agriculture. We're running hard in that category now, aren't we?
We are, and for the past several shows, the autonomy zone has been the Raven show because they've been the ones that have had something to show. And now Raven is coming out with a new product in their path to autonomy that they're unveiling at the show this year. But you have other competitors. The way we talk about it, it's similar to auto steer. It's the adoption curve of auto steer took several steps, and we're kind of watching that happen with autonomy here as people start to adopt it and get comfortable with it. So you're going to see 3 companies out there competing with their own autonomy solutions there at the show.
Big Bud will be there. Am I right? Is this Big Bud 747?
This is the brand new Big Bud that was unveiled at ConExpo.
Oh, this is the brand new one.
The brand new one, yeah. So, and it'll be there on the Titan exhibit, and that's drawing a lot of attention. Really excited to have that there. That's one of the things that, in addition to what's new, the next question is Big Bud going to be there? And yes, Big Bud is absolutely going to be there.
Well, I was laughing about it because we saw the folks, putting the LSW tires on the trailer with Big Bud and Boone, and taking the old Big Bud 747 away. LSW will be involved in this tractor.
It will. That's the factory option on that new Big Bud that they're manufacturing.
Nexat.
Yes, that is. Nexat is making its North American debut. Terran Camp is the company that runs the Nexat, and Nexat it is a chassis that you can put all kinds of attachments on. You've seen it on social media. It's that 24-row wide combine that was running in South America. That's the Nexat. It's going to be on display there at the show, making its North American debut. And the theory behind it is you have a 60-foot corn head, and you can attach a 60-foot planter, a 60-foot sprayer, and run tram lines on your field. And the cab it's almost remote cab. You can look behind and in front, and it's also autonomous, so it can run itself, so you can watch the work the machine is doing.
So much fun to see what's coming along so quickly here. Sprayer technology is another thing that comes to mind. We've made such giant strides there.
That is cutting edge, and it is coming fast. Is the smart sprayer technology, whether it's John Deere See and Spray or Green Eye or whatever you're talking about, where the machine at 12 miles an hour is selectively spraying what it's seeing in front of it, and that is groundbreaking technology that is now becoming mainstream and available to the growers and economical to growers to be able to experience.
And we're seeing more of the sprayer technology implemented with drones. I have a farmer friend this summer who said he was going to be doing side-by-side comparisons in his field with conventional sprayers and some drone spraying to see just how the coverage worked out and the performance turned out.
Yeah, and you can stay right above the canopy and hit every square inch of that field a lot better than a plane at 90 miles an hour. And so that technology is going to be flying as well. There are all kinds of solutions for that different companies are offering. So you'll be able to get up close and personal with several different sprayer drones.
Will those drones be all in one area, Matt, at the show?
Yeah, we're going to have the autonomy zone north of the show site, which out there by the field demonstrations, and that actually has gotten completely full. So now we're creating flying areas down where the concert was in 2021. So we're going to have dedicated flight ranges down there. So that's kind of focused at each end of Central Avenue.
This show site right there at the north edge of Decatur, Illinois, has often also been a ride and drive area. We've noticed. Is that the case again this year for the 2023 edition?
It absolutely is. Case IH is going to have tractors available, Kawasaki and Polaris. I should mention Polaris is the official off-road vehicle. They're great supporters of the event. You'll be able to run Kawasaki and Polaris side-by-sides, and both of them are coming with new side-by-sides. AGCO is going to have something, and Chevrolet is going to have a ride and drive. So yeah, just all over the grounds and out there in the autonomy zone, an opportunity to get in the cab.
I think many of us, when we go to the show, we think back to previous shows that we've attended, and some of us have been to many of them. I remember vividly the very first show that I went to in the 70s on the Wilred Farm, west of Chicago. You can still see those harvest stores lined up, and one of them, I believe, bears the lettering that it was the host farm for the Farm Progress show back in the day. You remember the first one you went to, Matt?
I believe the first one that I went to was 1990 in Amana, and
just a punk kid.
Yeah, I was a senior in high school, or I was a freshman in college, and that was the first one. And you remember all the Amana shows. There never was a dry one.
That's
so
right.
Those kind of blend together, all those wet Amana shows.
And again, that's a reminder of how these permanent sites have advanced with all of the improvements, with the pavement going in, the magnificent drainage of those sites. You know, when we think, yeah, it was fun to visit individual family farms, it got pretty tough from a weather standpoint.
The heck of that is that you know, it's still an outdoor event, so it's still open to the elements, and we can still have Mother Nature cause problems with us. But what happens is that we don't destroy the show site before we ever open the gates. And if you think back to Bloomington or you know any of those other shows, Henning, any of those other shows in Alleman, Iowa, where the show site gets destroyed just setting up the show. So it's ruined before we ever see anybody there. Now, with the hard surface roads and the drainage, that show is being built and not being torn up in the process, so that it's bright and shiny and new when the first visitor steps into the show.
You saw me laugh when you mentioned Bloomington. That was the show where the state trooper delivered me to the stage 10 seconds before airtime. That's another story for another time. Matt Youngman, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Max.
Oh, yes, there are stories. We have more stories. That's one thing neat about this event every year. With all of the people we get to see, it's kind of a family reunion for agriculture as the exhibitors and the producers and those of us who work with them come together at the show. You can get your tickets, order in advance, by the way. You can save $5 if you go to the website farmprogressshow.com. The regular ticket price is $20. If you order it and have it on your device, it's $15, and you just get right into the show quickly. Thank you so much for joining us on the Farm Progress Show preview. We'll count on seeing you in Decatur, Illinois. So long. You've been watching the Farm Progress Show preview. To get more information on the 2023 edition of the Farm Progress Show, visit farmprogressshow.com. This program has been produced by 22 Creative Group and has been a presentation of Farm Progress Broadcast.